Welcome back to our channel, everyone. Today is a beautiful day to dive deep into the chaotic, brilliant world of Fairmont Crest. We have so much to unpack from the latest updates, and we are absolutely thrilled to share these wild theories with you. Grab a comfortable seat, because we are about to jump right into the madness of the upcoming episodes. I am about to sound like a madman, but let me hear it anyway. The entire overarching narrative of Beyond the Gates right now, especially heading into the July 8th revelations, feels less like a standard drama and more like a massive study in survival psychology analysis. Think about it for a second. The plasma ring, the red market, the impaler. This is not just localized crime. This is a literal man-made apocalypse. We are witnessing a total moral collapse of the medical infrastructure in this town. And right at the center of this despair is Jacob. Wait, let me explain why this is important. Jacob has been pushed to the absolute brink of his sanity. We know from recent events that his investigation into the plasma ring became incredibly dangerous. He was brutally battered by his own shadowy contact, Ren, in that abandoned warehouse. Ren literally told him there would be a heavy price for his snooping. And now Jacob is operating under severe paranoia. He is so terrified of being caught by anyone he knows that he has shifted his secret, desperate meetings with Grayson to the building elevators instead of the stairwells. He is cornering Grayson, demanding to know why the lab tech is ignoring his calls. Actually, I'm not sure I understand correctly, but how does this intense, life-threatening trauma bleed into his romantic life? The new information says Jacob and Naomi are finally making up for lost time. They have not been on the same page for a long time, even before he went deep undercover playing the role of Rashad. But maybe I am connecting and related things here. Is Jacob returning to Naomi out of genuine love and a desire to heal their marriage, or is this a pure trauma response? When you are facing death, when a menace like Ren is threatening you in a dark warehouse, your brain desperately seeks safety. Jacob sacrificed his physical safety to play Rashad, but did he accidentally sacrifice his marriage in the process? Maybe he's just clinging to Naomi because she represents the only non-corrupted, safe harbor in his life right now. Or maybe not. I do not know. Everything makes sense until I think about it for another 10 seconds. If he is returning to her out of guilt, or fear rather than love, that foundation is going to crumble the absolute second the impaler case heats up again. And speaking of Grayson, wait, this connects to the first scene. Jacob is harassing Grayson in the elevators, right? Grayson is anxious, evasive, and totally cornered by this paranoid detective. The last few months have been an absolute nightmare of fear and despair for this guy. But suddenly, the plasma ring nightmare is supposedly behind him. He has immunity. Ashley's intense resentment toward him has miraculously melted away, and they are trying to patch things up. But then he gets this unexpected offer. I have a theory, but I do not really believe it myself. What if this mysterious offer is from Monica, the new chief of staff at Garland Memorial? If Monica is offering him a way back into the hospital or the clinic, what is her angle? Does she actually believe in his skills as a lab tech, or does she need him for a specific, hidden agenda? Actually, forget that part. Let us focus on Grayson's psychology first. If he gets a mysterious offer, will he tell Ashley the truth? Survival psychology suggests that when someone escapes a traumatic situation, they tend to hoard secrets to maintain a sense of control. If he hides this offer from Ashley to surprise her, or because he is scared of her reaction, it is going to blow up in his face and destroy their fragile reconciliation. Okay, wait a minute. Let me say it again. I need to explain the context of Monica first before I jump into her potential connection to Grayson. Actually, no. I should have mentioned that earlier. Let us talk about Leslie and Monica. Leslie Thomas is a fighter. She fought tooth and nail to help fund the Phoenix Street Free Clinic. But now Dr. Monica McCormick, the new head of HR and chief of staff at Garland Memorial, is severing the partnership between the hospital and the clinic. At first glance, this looks like a standard administrative power struggle. But maybe I am overthinking. But listen, Dr. Leah Whitmore, Monica's predecessor, absolutely hated Leslie. Leah and the Impaler used the free clinic as a front to divert suspicion and expand their illegal plasma trafficking. Garland Memorial was supplying a steady stream of volunteers to Phoenix Street, essentially feeding the red market. So when Monica cuts ties, is she doing it to protect the hospital from the lingering stench of the red market? Or is this a cyclical apocalypse? What if the corruption was not just isolated to Leah? What if the hospital itself is a breeding ground for this moral collapse, and Monica is just the new architect of despair, trying to consolidate power? Leslie is going to view Monica as enemy number one. The conflict here is not just about a clinic. It is about who controls the narrative of healing in Fairmont Crest. Leslie wants to save lives, especially after trying to be nicer to Cod, who literally saved her daughter's life. But Monica is playing a cold, corporate game of chess. I mean, not exactly, but something like that. If Monica is indeed the one offering Grayson a job, it perfectly aligns with her taking control of all the loose ends from the plasma ring disaster. She cuts off the vulnerable clinic but scoops up the immune, knowledgeable lab tech. That is a calculated, terrifying power move. What am I saying? Oh right, cut. Anyway, the main point is... Wait, what is the main point? The main point is that Cod is at the center of a massive emotional storm right now. Let us pivot to Cod and Tomas. Tomas is still nursing his wounds after Cod gently rejected his marriage proposal. And let us be objectively analytical here for a second. Tomas chose the absolute worst time in human history to propose. He interrupted Vernon's speech at Cod's own surprise welcome home party. It was a massive wave of awkwardness that suffocated the room. Cod pulled him aside and explained why she was not ready, and Tomas supposedly accepted it. Okay, I know I just said the opposite, but listen to me. He did not accept it at all. His ego is completely shattered, and he is masking his humiliation with false acceptance. The teasers reveal that Cod makes an impulsive purchase, and Tomas is furious about it. Let us do a quick survival psychology analysis on Cod. She just survived a literal tornado. She underwent major, life-threatening surgery to donate a piece of her liver to Eva. She has faced her own mortality in the most brutal way possible. When someone goes through that level of physical and emotional trauma, an impulsive purchase is not just about buying a shiny new object. It is a desperate attempt to reclaim autonomy over a body and a life that was recently subjected to extreme medical intervention. She needs self-care. She needs to feel alive and in control again. But whatever she buys rubs Tomas entirely the wrong way, sparking a massive argument. Is Tomas really mad about the money, or is this just his bruised ego manifesting as financial concern? I think it is entirely the latter. He says he accepts her not being ready for marriage, but deep down, he is harboring intense resentment. This is not just an awkward moment. This is the first major fracture in their relationship, a warning sign of deeper incompatibility. Cod is going to start realizing that Tomas's reaction is entirely about his own hurt pride. Will Tomas actually vocalize his true pain, or will he just weaponize his anger against her over this purchase? I predict this minor tension over a shopping trip is going to snowball into a devastating conflict. Cod might start doubting if Tomas actually understands her at all. He loves the idea of her, the idea of being her savior and husband, but he does not understand the psychological weight she is carrying after saving Eva's life. Speaking of Eva, we absolutely have to talk about Ted and Shanice. Ted has been living in an absolute state of fear and despair for months. The aftermath of the tornado took a massive, devastating toll on him. Both of his daughters, Eva and Cod, were fighting for their lives in the hospital. The tornado was not just a natural disaster. It was a symbolic apocalypse that ripped his family's foundation apart, leaving him entirely powerless. But now, the girls are home and recovering. Ted finally has a moment to breathe, and he is using that time to reconnect romantically with Shanice. But wait, hold on a minute. Is this actually healthy? I have to ask, is Shanice truly the person helping Ted heal? Or is she just going to become the emotional dumping ground for all of his unresolved trauma? Ted watched his children hover between life and death. That kind of profound fear does not just vanish because they are discharged from the hospital. Is he turning to Shanice because he genuinely loves her and wants a fresh start? Or is he just terrified of being alone in the quiet, haunting aftermath of the storm? Shanice is an incredibly strong woman, but can she be patient with a man who is constantly being pulled back into the heavy responsibilities of his family's illnesses and secrets? Ted wants to start over, but the past is a heavy anchor. Maybe it does not matter, but I noticed that people in this town never truly escape their history, no matter how hard they try to love someone new. And speaking of history, secrets, and family dynamics, actually, I need to bring up something that seems completely unrelated but is absolutely crucial to understanding the power dynamics in Fairmont Crest right now. Martin and Nicole. Yes, I know they are not the main focus of the July 8th hospital drama, but you cannot analyze the shifting power structures without looking at what Martin is doing behind the scenes. According to the timeline, Martin recently sat down with his mother, Nicole, and told her all about his goals and dreams. He asked her what he thought was an innocent question after the campaign: should I ease up on my workload or start a bigger project? But Nicole is incredibly sharp. She did not buy the innocent act for a single second. She immediately recognized that his question was loaded with hidden ambition and potential danger. She warned him directly, saying this could turn his life upside down, and demanded to know, "What are you going to do, Martin?" This tense dynamic between mother and son is fascinating. It mirrors the exact same themes of hidden agendas and power struggles we are seeing with Monica and Leslie and Grayson and his mysterious offer. Martin is secretly plotting something massive, something disruptive. Is his post-campaign ambition going to collide with the fallout of the plasma ring? What if his new project involves the very medical infrastructure that Monica is trying to restructure? I mean, probably not. But what if? The political landscape of Fairmont Crest is just as corrupt and fragile as the medical one. Everything in this show is connected by a thick, suffocating thread of desperation. Jacob is desperate for answers from Grayson, risking his life in warehouse beatdowns with Ren to get them. Grayson is desperate for a normal life with Ashley, but might be lured back into the dark corporate machine by Monica. Cod is desperate for control after her surgery, clashing violently with Tomas's desperate need for validation and traditional commitment. Ted is desperate for comfort and distraction with Shanice. And Martin is desperate for power, terrifying his own mother in the process. It is all a beautiful, messy web of human frailty and moral collapse. I do not know, maybe I am just projecting my own obsession onto these characters. But the recurring imagery of sterile hospitals, abandoned warehouses, and broken relationships points to a town that is constantly tearing itself apart and trying to stitch itself back together. Some thoughts are just incomplete, you know? Like, what is Ren's ultimate endgame with Jacob? Will Jacob ever truly escape the shadow of Rashad? I guess we just have to wait and see. But my brain is absolutely buzzing with the endless, terrifying possibilities.